I gotta get saucy. I gotta get saucy on you. 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 I gotta get saucy. I gotta get saucy on you. I gotta get saucy. I gotta get saucy on you. I got a good echelon view. I got a lot of blessings come through. I see you got sexy on me. Ain't even gonna flex cause that's rude. You stepping in sauce with your shoes. Wanna put a little sauce on your boob. Eat your pussy like Chinatown food. Kill a young and walk on the news. See a little bit of potential. I see a little bit of boss in you. See you walk out your talk, that's cool. I gotta get saucy on you. 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 I gotta get saucy. I gotta get saucy on you. I gotta get saucy. I gotta get saucy on you. The world won't give a fuck, I'm gon' do. I had to get saucy on you. Stay flat and quit what I won't do. Or what I'm gon' do. What I'm gon' do is get saucy on you. I gotta 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 get saucy. I gotta get saucy on you. I gotta get saucy. I gotta get saucy on you. I gotta get saucy on you.
What's good?
Hey.
What's up, y'all?
So we'll be starting here shortly. Make sure you share this out. Give us a thumbs up. Comment below if you're ready for this week's episode of Winning on Purpose.
Share it up now too. What's up, everybody? What's up? I'm excited today.
Yeah.
We got a millennial on with us today. Another millennial.
What up?
Yeah, so we have a special guest today, really Khalil. We'll be having him speak about his music, what inspires him, and why he is winning on purpose. So he's originally from Philadelphia, moved down south. Now he's in Savannah, Georgia, and he's making an impact in the music industry. He's an independent artist. He has some phenomenal work. Go ahead and check him out. Just Google him. He's Googleable. So Google him, and he has some phenomenal music, some feel-good music. You know what I mean? Because that's a lot of times people are talking about a lot of different things. He has some really great beats. Makes his own beats. He's so talented in so many ways. So welcome. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, you kind of covered all the general things. I guess a little more detail would be that I used to dance. And that really just inspired me to create my own rhythms to dance to. That's one of the, I would say that's the foundation of the reason why I got into music in the first place. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy that you guys invited me here. I'm on with a real chef. I see winners here, nothing but winners.
I'm about to start singing saucy.
Yeah, man. That's
gotta get saucy, y'all. You gotta get saucy.
Don't quit your day job.
All right, so let's before we do, go to the song Saucy. All right, so I want to read something I read online about the song, and I thought it was really really dope. All right, so in the caption underneath Saucy, it says the sauce is sticky, and Khalil wants to put it all on woman of his dreams. He talks to her in this video. Khalil wants a woman who is a boss and has her own bag. Power couples aren't just a thing, but they are required for true success. So can we talk about that right now?
Mm.
Can we talk about that, bro? So what made you come up with that song, and what was the inspiration about what you're writing, and your info part about that?
Well, the song itself, I wrote it to kind of like speak what I was saying into existence. I wanted a partner that I am worthy of, and that is worthy of me in a good solid partnership. So I was kind of writing all the things that I look for, writing all the things that I guess would make the relationship spicy or whatever the case may be. With the power couple thing, I really, really, truly believe that we all have our own power. But when you're on the right team, I mean, you can go so much further than you would alone, and that's in any type of situation. So when it comes down to somebody that you decide to be with, to spend your life with, that is going to be there through every step of the way, it's best to have someone that is not going to hold you down. I mean, hold you down in a bad way. You definitely want
Right.
someone that's going to hold you down because you need that rock. You need that solid structure. You know what I'm saying? But you need someone that's going to hold you accountable for your faults, that is going to give, their opinions and not really judge you. But also another thing that's important are common interests.
Mm.
Not necessarily both being professionals in the same area, but just common interests, and that keeps things succinct. That keeps it that keeps everything congruent. So
You dropping
That's
some
good. That's a good
bars
outlook
and
on
facts
it.
right here. That's very very good.
thank you.
That's
Thank you.
very good.
So you spoke a little bit about how you got into music as far as like the rhythm when it comes to dance, but what
Mm.
really inspired you to put, that pen to the paper and really come up with music like lyrics and come up with those beats and things like that? Like what inspired you to do that?
I would say at first it was therapy. Um, it was definitely something that I was able to just get my thoughts out. And it
Mhm.
really feels good when you can do it. It doesn't have to be in the form of music. You could just write in your journal and do that. Some people choose poetry. Other people choose dance to express their feelings. Some people choose visual art where they paint. Even if you're just throwing paint at a wall, that's still an expression of what's inside you. And it allows you to release and let go. So with music, I feel like it just makes me feel really, really good. And when I just started getting recognition from certain people, just confirming that it was actually good music, that kind of pushed me a little bit further to take it more seriously. And now we're at the point I am at now. People started giving me that recognition though before I did my rebrand, and I didn't necessarily know what my sound was, and I think that was the most frustrating part about it. But after I rebranded, I really feel like everything just started aligning, and my sound just kind of like came out of me. So that's my inspiration, just knowing that I'm hitting the mark now.
Well, you know what? So, like talking about rebranding, I'm kind of going off this switch of it. How important is rebranding the sound when it comes to an industry or a profession?
Okay, so that's a good question. Me personally, I do a lot of research when it comes down to music because otherwise I'll be running here blind. So one of the things that I found out in my research is rebrands are pretty much mandatory for any artist. People want to see something different eventually from every artist has seasons. We can take the most obvious artist that has seasons, Rihanna. She started off like so innocent and it was just like strictly dance music and whatnot, but now you see her evolution. So really all artists have that evolution, and one of the examples that they gave me in my research from one of the articles I read was Jadena. So at first
Oh yeah.
Jadena had the classic man situation, and then he switched it up into a more, I guess, even more woke version of Jadena. He went to the gym. I mean, he did a whole bunch of stuff to change his whole imagery physically and the sound, just the brand completely, even down to his style of clothing. So rebrands are very, very important, not even just in music. Sometimes you need a fresh approach. Take Burger King, for example. Like their old logo is, you may see it in about 20 years or 10 years. They may bring it back, but that's still a rebrand. They're just keeping the image fresh for you. So even though the food is the same, it's just like, oh, it's a brand new Burger King. Let me go. No, all they're doing is changing the logo, switching up the interior design, and you got the same Whopper. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I agree with that. I think it's a really good point about rebranding because Halim and I talk about that all the time too. Is even though we're chefs and nutritionists and we have so many different components to us, when you're rebranding yourself, you're not only always appealing to the same people. So if I would have stayed at the same price bracket, I would have appealed to only that group of people. Now,
Yeah.
when you rebrand yourself, you expand yourself and people see a different side of you, and it opens up a different market for you too, where you're not always stuck. Oh, they just do this. No, we do
Right.
more than this.
Yeah.
This is how we be catching bags because we do more
Right.
than one
Right.
item. But
Right.
when you have
Yeah.
such a big gift, you have to be okay with rebranding yourself that you can't be doing the same thing all the time because people need to see your gift in different lights because we're meant to be a blessing to others too. So I think it's a good point about rebrand. I know Halimi's gonna say something.
Yeah, I think just the evolution of a person. I mean, I tell people all the time, like, even knowing me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, there are still some key components as to who you genuinely are. But you
That's
in
true.
business change. You as a person should change. You should want to evolve. You should want to expand and do different things. And then, like you said, reaching different audiences. So, you're not that, even with like Chris Brown, when he went from being a childhood star to now a full-blown adult. You know what I mean? He's not appealing to the same people. He's not a kid anymore. So being able to not only catch a different bag, when you're putting different price tags on that, you have a whole different audience that you can appeal to as you evolve as a person. So I think that's very important. And you shouldn't be
That's
stuck
true.
there like, oh, this brand has to be perfect because you're going to rebrand eventually anyway. So just evolve
Yeah.
with your brand, evolve with your
I think
brand. I
the
think that's
greatest of
really
that is
good.
P Diddy. P Diddy is the known person for rebranding so
Oh,
many
yeah.
times. Thought about
Yeah.
13. Now he's now
Puff
loved.
Daddy, like,
P Diddy.
Yep.
just
You're right.
Diddy, like, yeah, no, that's true. That's true. So
That's true.
speaking of that, like, what are some like you're an amazing, phenomenal artist. What are some artists? Or who are some artists that you look up to? Like, who would you put in like your top five? Like everybody has a top five, dead or alive type of thing. So
Oof.
who would you say is in your top five? I mean,
Okay.
no
I'll,
offense to those who doesn't make the cut. You know what I mean?
yeah, you're right. I will start off by saying that I listen to many different artists because I want to know what's going on. Like I listen to a whole bunch of music. And I actually started doing that more recently because for a little bit I kind of was like very, very what's the word? Narcissistic in a way when it comes down to my music. That I didn't care about anything else that was going on in the world. But my rebrand, it involved me becoming a little bit more commercial. So in order to do that, I have to know what commercial is. I have to experience it myself. All right. So with that preface, I will say, gotta say it, top five. Drake is in my top five because for some reason he never ceases to amaze me. Like he always like comes with this crazy approach. We all know he has like a crazy team of people, but that's just a perfect example of how important a team is. Another one I would say is Black. I really like Black because he keeps it extremely authentic in his music. Like it's not all happy. It's all type of things that could possibly happen in your life. So, well, when it comes down to the topics he talks about. So he's another one. Wow, I got three more. Let's see.
And not just hip hop,
Yeah.
any artist. You could any
Okay.
artist. Any artist.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sorry, I gotta give it some time because it changes. It actually changes. Tierra Whack is one of my favorite artists right now. I don't know if you ever heard of her, but she is
Oh yeah.
extremely creative. I mean, I don't know how many different approaches she can bring. Like she's brought so many different approaches. So she's definitely in my top five. She's definitely an inspiration for me. Another one I would say, Oh, and before I move on, Tierra Whack is a perfect example of like not necessarily staying strictly in the hip hop lane. And that's kind of like what I want my brand to be. Like, I don't want it to just be hip hop. Like, I want you to listen
Right.
to it and be like,
Box you
okay,
in.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, yeah, he's rapping, but is this really hip hop? You know what I mean? I wouldn't be offended if somebody told me my music wasn't hip hop because that's not what I'm aiming for. Um,
Mm.
Let me see. I got what, two more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's throw in J. Cole because
Oh,
you know
I
he
love J.
got the
Cole.
lyric, he got the consciousness. You know what I'm saying? You gotta always stay conscious. You can't really let the lights blind you. Though he's also a perfect example of evolution. Um, and
We could
lastly,
just round it off with you. You could just put yourself in there.
hey, hey, you
We could
know
just
what?
round it off with you.
I should have started
You gotta
off
be your
with
own fan. Listen, you
it.
gotta be your,
Right,
because
right.
if you're not your own biggest fan, it's like it is what it is sometimes, you know.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I know you, the humbleness in you, just like, let me give somebody else their props. But yeah, so
You brought up a
that's
good
a dope
point.
list. That's a dope
Yeah,
list.
it
Thank
is. You
you.
brought up a good point when you were saying that um, when someone says your music's not really hip hop, you can say you're not aiming for that. So after you said you rebranded and people started to sound good, you said you wanted to do like change the sound up.
Mm.
What do you think the purpose of your music? Like, what's the purpose behind Khalil when it comes to your music?
Really? Sorry about that. Really, I think it's just to express my personal stories, my personal experiences, my authenticity, like what actually goes on in my mind. All of the songs that you hear, they literally spilled out of me. Like I don't really force anything. And the ones that I force, they don't ever get distributed. You'll never hear those. So it's just the whole point is to really like stylistically tell people about me. That's really the purpose. And my story actually is an inspiration for some at least. I got a message not too long ago, and he was like, you know, we don't know each other, but your music helps me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Your experiences help me. So I guess maybe he went through some of the same things. He could relate. But at the end of the day, like that's what I want. I want to be able to help people, if anything. And at the very least, just give those good feelings, those good vibes that comes from the sound itself. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
listened
and
to a
I can
couple of them, and
definitely,
it's sound. I'm sorry, it's a
yeah.
dope sound. Feel
I
No,
me?
yeah,
appreciate
and
it.
I can definitely attest to that
Appreciate
as
it.
well. Like we grew up together, but
Mm,
like we kind of like went down south, we kind of parted ways. But like when I heard your music, it really did like speak to me, and like because of your lyrics and like the newest song, or not the newest song that you have, but one of your newer songs, energy. Like when I'm feeling
mm,
down, or like when I'm feeling like I need to just take it up a notch as far as the vibe. I
yeah.
definitely put that on. Like what I mean. Like I
Oh, that's what's
definitely
up.
do. Listen to songs because it's just like everybody can connect to music in some type of way. Like I feel
Mm,
like music is just it's a universal language, whether you know what the person is saying or not. Like even just the
mm,
beat can bring you out of a mood or put you in a certain mood. It's just the vibe that you get when you
mm.
listen to your music. So I can definitely agree with people just gravitating towards you as far as just relating to you in that way. So
Thank
that's
you.
powerful to have that impact on the world.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
speaking of that, like, how do you stay true to yourself? Because I think a lot of times what happens is you spoke a little bit about it as far as like understanding what is happening in the commercial world. I mean, we do live
Mm,
in a society, like when people say it's not about money, okay, we live in a capitalistic society, so it is about money. You know what I mean?
mm,
There are certain things that within the music industry, you do have to talk about and to a certain
Hmm.
extent to stay relevant. So how do
mm.
you incorporate different things, but not too much, and still stay, focus on that purpose, and then also staying true to yourself?
To be honest, and I'm gonna sound like a real old, I can't say what old person, but I go like every now and then I just go on the internet and I search millennial and Zoomer phrases. I need to know how people talk, and that
Mhm.
way I can rephrase my thoughts into the way people talk nowadays. And that's
Yeah.
honestly that's the most I do. Honestly, from there, like you know, certain things, well, if you listen to my music, you'll see like I only interject or I only include certain aspects of the secular music world. But there's other things that just really just don't relate to me. Like I'm not about to go out and rob nobody. I don't kick doors in. I don't sell drugs. I don't do that. So I'll never talk about it. You see what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
that's something I've never done and I don't plan on doing it. It's not a part of me. So it wouldn't even feel right to put it out. Now, if I ever did put something out like that, I'll give y'all the go ahead to, if you see me personally, just slap me in my face real quick, and I know exactly what it's for. But like
Yeah.
really, like on some real stuff though, like I don't include anything that I don't personally believe in or that I've never done, and that's another thing that people in and out of the music world they respect that. Okay, for example, I lived in Alabama for about 2 years. I met a guy, and he's actually making a pretty big impact musically in the town that I lived in. And he was like, man, and this first of all, this guy, I'm not gonna say no names. He is like the plug. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all he do, that's all he's done, that's all he knows because he had to take care of his family. And I understand that. I just know that there are multiple ways to skin a cat. So I've never went that route. But he told me, he was like, look, man, I respect you and I like your music because one, I know that you're not talking about something that's not you. And two, it helps me forget about my life. It helps me forget about what I gotta do every day. It's literally a giveaway or a getaway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So if I can provide that aspect, like to take you to a beach or a tropical island for 2 minutes and 48 seconds, that's fine with me. That's cool. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Saucy, I need it to be like 5 minutes next time. Saucy, can we get a
Little
little
part
EP on it?
two.
Hey man, I might have to do that though, for real though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that also speaks to like being humble as well. Because I think
yeah,
a lot of times what happens is that we have this ideal picture of what it's supposed to be, and we put that out there, and like people better like it or else. I'm not
mm,
bending. I'm not, like I'm staying true to myself. It's a difference between staying true to yourself and having a big enough ego that you can't kind of adapt to the times. Because, like,
mm,
honestly, like I'm like old school. So I don't get hit with the lingo and the, the text to talk type of stuff where it's like BRB and all that type of stuff. I don't know what those acronyms mean. So, like, just even when you're talking about like certain captions that you have to do for social media, or even when it comes to your lyrics, being able
mm,
to Google some of that stuff so that you are still relevant to the present time, but not losing yourself in that. So I think
mm,
that speaks to like being humble and not having a big ego to be like, listen, this is my music, either take it or leave it. It's like, okay,
mm.
we'll leave it.
And I
Right.
think it's
And
cool that you do
yeah,
remain authentic with it. You know, like a lot of
yeah,
times too, like I give a perfect example. There are a lot of people who sell food,
mm,
but they're not me and I'm not them. So
Right.
I would never try to say I could do this. It's not saying I can't do it, but I
mm,
stay in my lane. And I think the
Yeah.
mm,
more you focus on your craft and your gift, the better you'll become because you're only focusing on your stuff. Like it's a lot of people doing food. Like it is. Like, a lot of people doing music. Everybody's a
mm.
makeup artist. Everybody's a rapper. Everybody's a chef. All that's everybody right now. You know. So when you everybody got SoundCloud. Everybody got a mixtape, and that's
Mm,
cool. But it's like you can't look at what other people are talking about. And the cool part about what you're talking about in your songs, like you're talking about stuff that can relate to everybody's struggle. Ain't drugs. Everybody's struggle is not.
Right.
This part of a mindset. People have different walks of life, and through your music, in music period, music speaks to everyone. And even to
Right.
like, I work in a school district where the song they sing, stuff I'm singing hip hop is not relatable to them, but they sing it.
mm,
And it
mm,
doesn't mean that
Yeah.
like, and I think too, when you're authentic like that, that adds a whole nother respect and a whole nother atmosphere to the feeling of the song because everybody don't have that experience.
mm,
They may like to record every time beat come on, everybody know the lyrics, but that don't mean that was your story. It was all the dreams. That's not your story. And that's
mm,
okay. But through
mm.
your music, so especially what I heard so far, you are allowed to live authentically through your sound. You
Oh,
know.
so I do want to interject really quickly. So two other things I do is I'll before I even distribute, when I do my first or second draft, I just go ahead on and I send my song to certain people that I know have non-biased opinions. So I get
Mhm.
their opinions. So I have like a private case study, and then I do
Okay.
a more public case study through the distribution company I work with called Tungo, and they have
Wow.
a platform where they're able to get a bunch of like anonymous people review your music. So I get like opinions from the masses, you know what I'm saying, before I hit that boom, okay, it's distributed. Before I hit that button, I want to make sure that it's going to be accepted. At the end of the day, even if I never distribute a song, getting it out, like making that beat, having that experience, and getting it out onto the wax, that's fine with me. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's all therapy. But yeah, that
That's
was.
cool. And kind of going more, and that's kind of goes into our next question too, which is really cool. Like as an independent artist, all right, what are some of the challenges that you face and you go through as an independent artist?
Honestly, the top one, money. You know, I mean, I'm gonna be real with y'all. Like, the industry is not cheap. Like, really, it takes money to make money, no matter what you're doing. So I had to literally. That was okay. That was a part of my rebrand. When I finally got some real stability under me, I was able to really like let my music flourish a little bit more. I was more confident. I had a situation that wasn't stressing me out, wasn't making me cry on the side of the road. I wasn't homeless no more. Like, it was a lot that I went through. When I finally got out of or climbed out, I was still kind of halfway in, but I was like, oh, that's what it looked like up here. When I finally got to that point, I was
Smelt the
like,
air.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt better. So then I was able to start to financially invest in myself more. And I put my money where it's important. A lot of people put their money to things where it's just for like surface level, okay, they might be on because they got blah blah blah, but honestly that stuff don't matter. And me doing all the research and certain other people, we can see right through certain things. You know, you can't I hope I'm not offending nobody, but you
It's the
can't
truth, bro.
you can't buy a bunch of followers and you got 5 comments. Like, where
Right.
are the
It don't
followers
add up.
I was talking about
at?
that today.
It just don't work like that. And
Yeah.
also you have to engage with your audience. Otherwise, you don't have an audience. If you're not engaging, you're not talking to nobody, you don't have an audience, you know? And that's one of the things the algorithms for these social media sites really look at is what are your engagements like? Every single comment you get, reply, because that turns one comment into 2 comments. You see what I'm saying? If you get a comment, like that comment. That's another like in the algorithm. It may not show up as the general likes. That is a like though. So I just try to study like my arena as much as possible before I just jump in a coliseum and then release the bulls on me. Like, I need to make sure that I know what I'm doing if I'm going to continue. One thing I don't want to do is feel like I wasted 10 years of my life trying to do music. That's just, but yeah.
So speaking about like investing in yourself, this is like off the cuff of the questions, but a lot of times, like what you were saying, as far as like people want to fake it till they make it, they want to look like a certain thing, like a certain image. How did you really like navigate to know like, okay, I need to be putting my money into studio sessions. I need to be putting my money into this. I need to be putting money into that instead of sneakers or cars or whatever the case may be. Like, what gave you that mindset to really like hone in on those things that will really make you successful over the long haul instead of like for the right now?
Well, I'll tell you this. This is a secret that I don't know, some people might know. But I'm a jack of most trades. I'm a jack of most trades. So I produce all my own videos. As you know, I make my own beats. Like, I don't have to spend money on a lot of stuff. I record in my house. It may not sound like it, but I do. And I try to increase my quality as much as possible because at the end of the day, I'm still worried about what A&Rs hear. A&R will hear my songs and be like, oh, here it sounds good, but yeah, he definitely recorded this in the bedroom and he probably was in a corner facing this way, blah, 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 blah. You see what I mean?
Because
Like,
some people album SoundCloud sound like that. Yes, it does. They were in the basement
right.
after
So like
work before the music.
the main thing, one of the main things that's very, very important, I would say is just as important as monetary investment is literally doing the research. I had to do research to be able to even know how to make my sound the way that I did, quality wise. And I've yet to go to I haven't been to a studio session in years. I would say what, six, maybe 7 years. I've been recording
Wow.
everything in my own humble abode. You know, I don't really. I like to
I
get
think
into
that's
my
so dope.
vibe.
That's so
I
That
dope.
is
appreciate
dope.
that. Thank you.
That's
Thank
talent.
you.
And I think what makes it so dope is, you know what it is too? Like when something is your passion,
Mhm.
you won't let what seems like a no from somebody else stop you from doing it. There's always more than one way to get to Rome and to get something
Mm,
done. And it's just like I think a lot, and I'll speak this as millennials. I think with our generation, and it's not everybody, but sometimes it's just that they give up too easily, opposed
Yeah.
to finding
mm,
different ways to do it. Where if somebody tell them no, oh, I guess I can't do it. No, no. What
No
are we
means
gonna do
next
beside that? Because you know we
opportunity.
don't want to work a 40-hour job.
Yeah.
Yes, you know, and
mm-hmm.
so and what I love about that too is for those who know who millennials who are really serious about their passion. I'll say that part because there's a different breed as well too. It's just like
Mhm.
no can never be an option, especially for me. I don't
Yep.
receive that. If you tell
Yeah.
me no, I'm just probably not going to even deal with you like that, and I let you see my success on social media platforms because you can't be in
That's
my
it.
circle like that anymore.
That's
I'm just
it.
being real.
Yeah.
If you don't
Mm-hmm.
believe in me, I can't have you in my circle. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not a dig. It's not being rude. It's just that for some people you can love them from a distance, but at the same time too, when it
Mhm.
comes to my creative space, I can't have anybody who does not believe in me.
You're
Right.
You
right.
may come at me at a different way. Like Halima's always going to bring a different approach. I'm bringing a different approach to her. But it's
Mm,
like that's how we work together to really edify each other and to build each
Right.
other up. Not saying, "Oh, that's a stupid idea. Oh, that ain't gonna work out."
mm.
Okay, then you know what? Let me in this. Let me go right
Don't
now.
believe
Somebody
me,
calling
just
me right now. My,
watch.
my, my chicken burning. Let me go up this phone.
I feel it. I
But
feel
you
it.
know what? You
Yeah.
mentioned another good point about social media. So you mentioned a good point about social media. All right. So how has social media played a role in your success as an artist?
I would say that I have been trying my best to learn it more and more. And the one thing I did learn is just you got to pay to play. So what I try to do is I engage because I can't engage with my followers any other way. Literally, like I have a fan that's actually like she's really cool, and I would have never known that she was a fan unless social media was there, all the way out in Texas. I got fans. I just was thrown on a
Wow.
playlist, an Indian playlist in India, but I haven't met that person yet, and I hope I do because social media makes it possible. It's just the fact that you have a stronger and a further reach, and
Mhm.
that literally
Mm,
changed the game. Social media for all businesses of all kinds. If your business is not able to be found on social media or on Google, you're not doing nothing. So,
That's true.
like, it,
yes.
it literally enables,
Especially during
excuse
COVID.
me,
Yeah.
yeah, it gives us superpowers, to be honest. Like,
Right.
regular business owners from, I don't know, the 70s, they didn't have those powers. They was based on word of mouth and how good they shop looked like when you finally walked in.
I don't like. Can you hear
Yeah.
Otherwise,
me?
Yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
can hear you.
Sorry,
Yeah,
it's just me.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so I believe social media is important for everybody, on all levels, on all scales. And I just want to be able to show my authenticity on there, provide quality content, and try my best to be entertaining. That's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it speaks to like, they used to say like everybody's connected, like 6 degrees of separation or something like that. I think
Mm,
nowadays it's like 2 degrees of separation. Like
mm,
the
Yes.
world is just seeming smaller and smaller because you said that your reach can be, like you said, is your reach can be further quicker. You know what I mean? Like it can just go
True.
really quickly to someone in India, all the way, on the other side of the world. So
right.
I think that's like super duper dope. So just switching gears a little bit,
Hmm.
let's say like we were talking about, you being an independent artist and some of the challenges that you face with doing so. If you were to be signed to a label, what are some things that you would require in order for that to take place, like to still be in line with your brand?
Well, the first things first, if I'm going to sign to a label, it's not me that's getting signed. It would be my business, my label getting signed to that label. When you
Okay.
then are seen
That
as
sounds
a
so good. I'm
business,
sorry. That's good talk, man. Good.
appreciate it.
Ownership is key.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So when you're seen as a business instead of an individual, they will not try to manipulate you as if you're an individual, and you have more leverage. So one of the main things that I'm working on right now is legitimizing my business right now, so that is possible. And whenever I'm approached, I want to have my terms. And even if they don't necessarily accept all of my terms, I want to be able to come to a happy medium based on my terms and their terms, not just based on, hey, here's what we're offering you, take it or leave it. It is what it is. No, I need to have this, and this. And then I also need to make sure that I continue ownership of this, and this, because this is what I've been doing to ensure that I had ownership in the first place. So
without y'all.
Exactly.
Right.
Without
So
y'all, I've been doing it. Without
if
y'all.
they see that the business side of the music, that's like I said, I do a lot of research. That's one of the main important things. You can be a creative, but just being creative isn't enough if you're trying to make it your career. You've got to know the business side, or at least some of the business side, and have a consultant along with that, so that nobody takes advantage of you. So honestly,
and I agree with
yeah.
that. I think. So go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, honestly, I would want to be able to stay true to myself in a way where my sound, what I've talked about. Just make sure that I'm still doing that. Like, even if it evolves with my experiences, because different experiences bring on different expressions of it. But I still need to be within those confines. Like, that's just me. My brand is about authenticity. It's called Really Khalil. It's really me. So that's what I need.
That's dope. You made a good point too about consulting. I do
Mm,
believe that sometimes it's best to have a consultant than have somebody outright kind of manage certain things.
mm. Yeah, I agree. Oh,
Josh,
You know,
we lost you.
no. How
you
about
there?
now? You
No
hear me?
image. We can hear you,
How
but we
about
can't
now?
see you. We can't see
Yeah,
you.
Yeah.
I'm using my iPad now. It's a little different, so I'm just gonna talk like I'm a ghost. It's cool.
Okay. They know what you look
So the all right.
like.
So so just kind of moving gears towards your movement. All right. So what is the Love Matters movement, and like how do you want it to impact others?
All right. Before we get into that, is it cool if I connect over here with my laptop?
You go ahead.
All right, cool. Hold on 1 second. Let's make sure everything is straight. And all right, we straight. And enter.
All right,
There
there
we go. All right. Hold on 1 second. I know it's probably not as clear. I went from an iPhone 11 to a MacBook Air. So, all right. Love Matters. Love Matters is very multi-layered. One of those layers being, first of all, it's dark here. There we go. So the Love Matters movement started off as a way to combat the negativity that was going on between Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter and All Lives Matter. It was just like, and I said this before, a happy medium of all, something that's universal that everybody can relate to. So back in 2015, we had like a slight campaign where we would go to different busy intersections in Savannah and just hold up signs that say Love Matters. And like I said, this is during all of the crazy unrest where people are like on the brink of like fighting each other because of, different sides, and everybody saying that whatever. I feel like love is the main thing that matters of all, because, and I don't want to sound like Bob Marley when I say it, but it's the truth. It's because that's literally the purest form of positivity that there is. When you have a love for something, it gives you life. Like, it gives you happiness. It gives you inspiration. It literally is a euphoric thing. And there are so many different definitions of love. So Love Matters really just puts everybody's personal definitions of love, which is all good, and it just brings it to the forefront in front of everything, all of the negativity. So that's what the point of it was back in 2015. We took a break from it and we brought it back again this year, because we also believe that love is a way that we can combat even biological unrest, I guess. So if you care about your fellow man, then you will make sure that your fellow man is healthy just like you. So what we were doing is we were going through Savannah and we were sterilizing the gas pumps because that's one of the most used facilities. Everybody got to get somewhere. And at the end of the day, you use a gas pump, then the next person come right behind you and use it. Nowadays, everybody has hand sanitizer in their car, but at the time, it was a shortage. So we would just go sanitize the gas pumps, kind of like inform the people in the area, hey, this is what we're doing, and this is how you can also help by helping flatten the curve by either doing what we're doing or just, keeping hand sanitizer on you, period. So Love Matters then also evolved into one of the projects that I put out, which is only one definition of love, which is the more romantic, intimate definition. And that, like I said, there's so many definitions that I couldn't hit them all. So it's like a 13 track, people call it an album, but it's just an LP, 13 track LP of just my experiences from Energy to So Salty to High Key, Angel with Wings. Like, these are all songs that like people have connected with very well over the time span of me being out like this. But yeah, I'm really excited.
That's dope.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
I appreciate that. I'm really excited about the fact that Love Matters, the movement, was as received as it was. People kind of automatically drop their guard, no matter how negative they want to be, and they just have to agree. Like, you know what? Yeah, love does matter. Like, I can't even disagree with you. When we first started off, like, there were like cops taking pictures, people of all races and creeds just coming up and taking pictures. And it's because it's the truth. You can't deny that. I'm looking for my charger here. Yeah.
So speaking about that, with the movement, how do you think that like the recent civil unrest that's been going on, with the murders of unarmed Black men, how does that differ from some of the injustices and some of the activism that has happened like in the 60s and 70s? Like, how would you say that it's different, and then also with your movement playing a part where it's really like talking about love instead of war or aggressiveness?
I'll tell you, it's actually quite the same, but the difference is that we've had more time and more freedoms given to us since then. So now it actually hits. I don't want to say it hits harder, but I feel like since I am a millennial and I am, living this right now, it hits harder because I'm kind of heartbroken that you can't see my face. Hold on. Okay, there we go. I'm kind of heartbroken that we had so much time and so much reform, and that there are still people out here with this negative mindset, with this hatred to kill. You know what I'm saying? That like you're not just injuring, hospitalizing, hurting, saying bad words. No, you're killing. Like this is like a real thing. Like this is like one of the worst. Like, you're taking a gun out and you're deciding to make a decision that this person in front of you doesn't need to breathe anymore. Like, they have to die. What did they do to you to make you feel that way? Yeah. And honestly, everybody's saying like, oh, that's existing. Like, somebody told me a joke the other day. It's a terrible joke, but I was trying to say like, I said something like, yeah, man, even a cell phone looks like a gun. And the person said, your breath looks like a gun. Like, you don't have to have nothing in your pocket.
Nothing, right.
And it looks like a gun.
Yeah.
It's literal extermination. And hopefully we see the end of it. Hopefully we do see some shifts and some changes. I feel like there's a lot of like shifting going on right now, but that happened before, so I'm hoping that we can actually get to a better place and be able to move forward.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So now, let me fix that. So you work what's some of the new projects you're working on right now?
You said new projects?
That you could talk about, because I know you got a lot of big stuff coming through. So what could you talk about?
Well, let me see. What can I say? I've got a premiere coming. Can't tell you what, can't tell you how, can't tell you why. But it's coming very, very soon. I'll be announcing it in about a week. What's gonna be happening. It's very big for me. I feel like that I deserve this. I've been doing music for 10 years, but honestly, ever since I put out Chef Specials back in July last year, because I literally just celebrated the 1 year anniversary of it. I was able to literally like fully hone in on what I want from this, what I want out of it, and what I want to give to it. And I'm excited about it. But other than that, because like I'm being so vague, I would say that we're doing another show soon. We're planning on doing that in September, so I'll be announcing that. Can't really give you the details on that either. I'm sorry, but it's
Let me
gonna
get
be.
my flight ready.
Hey, nah, for real. Like, come down.
I'm for real. I'm for real too.
Yeah,
Right. We take flights.
for sure, yeah, that'll be dope. That'll be dope. Yeah, so we are doing a dope show. It's I can't tell you details, but it's gonna be slightly different very different from the last one, and a little bit bigger. We're trying to we're keeping it a little bit more COVID safe than the last one. A lot more actually. We're calling it COVID proof. So yeah, you have nothing to worry about coming down to Georgia, the state that completely disregarded the mask situation for months. I'm sorry, y'all, that happened. It's nothing to do with it. But yeah, I did have a project planned for October, but I have to push that back because of this premiere. But it was supposed to be Chef Specials too, actually. I might as well just go ahead and say it, but that's going to get pushed way back, probably till July of next year. We'll do it that way.
I'm gonna have to be on that special because
Josh over here going, he gonna have to make a plate of chicken or something to go on the cover. I don't know.
Hey, but on some real
whipping
stuff,
up eggs, something going on, you know.
You might have to whip something up in a video. I'm gonna do like a real special premiere.
Oh yeah.
Too. So like, if you don't mind cooking like in a video, you know, that's what I'm.
That's private dining.
Listen, come on, now we got lighting and everything. That's cool.
Yeah. Normally,
I think it would be a good idea too to maybe can you give us like a little theme music? Work with some winning on purpose. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
right.
I can do that. Just gotta tell me what direction you want me to go in, and I can provide some vibes
that saucy direction.
He all saucy. You see, he's trying to find his Nubian queen. He's trying to find his other half, his power couple. He on a hunt for that one. But speaking about your last showcase, tell us a little bit more about that. I know that you had other artists. That's kind of where this interview stemmed out of. We already had a podcast going on, but I definitely wanted to support you in the things that you were doing, and that was one of the options on being able to support. So I definitely wanted to have you on and support in that way with the showcase. So talk about your collaborations and just the format of the showcase for the people that missed it, and then that will tell people that next time don't miss it. Definitely get your ticket.
So and we do plan on doing it again next year. It was a festival of sorts. I'm sorry, I've been like out all day. Okay, it was a festival of sorts. So we had visual artists, really, really good visual artists, selling and displaying their artwork. Then we also had musicians, and I tried to hit different points of the style spectrum when it came down to hip hop and R&B. I had some other ones that were supposed to come from Alabama, and they hit the more like neo soul aspect. But unfortunately, since the COVID restrictions reduced the amount of people we can have in one area, they were like, "Yeah, I'm not traveling 5 hours for like 20 people." So it was cool. I'm glad I was able to have the opportunity to also live stream it. So like you guys in a totally different state were able to watch the show as well. So I feel like I got what I wanted out of it, just to be able to broadcast it or just show it to as many people as possible. I handpicked all these artists based on, their grind, really. I wanted them to be able to showcase their talent on a platform that's different from what you would normally see in this city specifically. So yeah, it was fun actually. It was very fun. We were lit. Everybody, if they didn't know each other, they got to know each other, and it was just one of those experiences that I'm actually happy about it being more intimate, because you get a different side out of the experience, other than just having a bunch of people you don't know and you got to impress them, and then some of them are judging and blah 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 blah. Whereas with this, like, I feel like if something was judged upon, these are the type of people that would come up to you, say, "Hey, I feel like you could have did this differently because blah blah blah," on some real,
like a jam session kind of thing.
You see what I mean? Like, and also on some real constructive type of situation. I like people around me personally that are going to help me be better. And constructive criticism is one of my favorite things to talk about and to receive. Because without constructive criticism, we won't know. We won't know what direction. We have no idea. Yeah, so
that's good. You love it. I'll work on that.
See,
but
this is the thing about constructive criticism. If a person is trying to give you constructive criticism, but you feel like they're putting you down, that's not constructive. That's
yeah. Because I think that the people that know you, and I think that you can get a vibe from a person of what will be received, because it's not really what you say, it's how you say it. So if you really want to impact someone's business, impact someone's life with a minor adjustment or a tweak or something that they could possibly use, the way in which you say it to them, not to negate all the things that they've been doing, but just to introduce something new, possibly. You know what I mean? So I think that is something that, Josh and I do as friends. I've even talked to you about some things, and, Khalil, we've just been vibing and talking about some different things as well. And I think that just being able to have people in your corner where you're able to, oh, how does this look? Or how does that feel? Or what type of vibe did you get from that is very important, because then you'll just be going through life as a singular experience. And the whole world has to, where you want them to partake in whatever you're doing. So having those, like you said, having those sessions where you have different communities or people are listening to your music, or, even with your merch, like you have a whole merch line that's coming out. So even being able to have people that are, talking about the merch and wearing the merch and, representing in that way as well, I think it's very important to collaborate instead of a competition, because I think a lot of times what happens is people think, and we're doing the same thing. Like Josh, he cooks, I cook. I mean, I'm in the nutrition side and he's on the non-nutrition side.
Listen, I had oatmeal cereal. I'm good over here.
We can definitely help one another in different aspects. You know what I mean? Like you linking up with different artists, just like you did with the showcase. You guys can definitely help one another with that collaborative, effort, instead of always, it's a dog eat dog world out here. We're definitely all in this together. So just speaking a little bit about the merch, do you have can you talk a little bit about that? You have some ideas coming up with that. So just, tell the people what's to come, more showcases and, the merch that you have going out, got on today.
So speaking of merch, if you look at the very comfortable looking black shirt that Halim is wearing, that's actually one of my products there. It's based on the Really Real brand. So it's just, it's to celebrate being authentic and being your true self. It's also to celebrate or to, I guess, talk people out of being fake. So if they see a shirt that says real and then the definition of it, maybe I wasn't real in that situation I just left, or maybe I was, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I need to be a little bit more authentic. So that's really what it's based on. Merch wise, I literally just shifted to a different print manufacturer. I just had to make that call. And as you said earlier, like we talked about it, I not only do I want feedback from my music, I need to know if my merch is comfortable. I need to know if it has quality, because if the quality doesn't match, then it just doesn't make sense. So yeah, I've actually switched the gears a little bit with the merch. As you can see, I'm wearing this shirt. It says Mogul. It's based on a brand that we are introducing 2 p.m. The M stands for Mogul. So yeah, so you'll see a lot more of the Mogul things. And Mogul is also another way to bring out the greatness in you. So if you look at the definition of Mogul, it's a person who really just controls or are putting their hands and expertise into many parts of their industry, or multiple industries for that matter. So if you call yourself an entrepreneur, you don't really want to just be like stuck in a box. You want to kind of like a person look at you and be like, yeah, like that brand has really changed or affected, their industry or their community or whatever, whatever platform you want to look at it as. The mogul mindset is literally to expand further past what people may do that are running right alongside you. So that's what we switched it up to a little bit. I'm still going to be doing the Really Real products. Obviously, I just did a festival called Really Real, so we're doing it. We're doing it annually. So I'll have more merch based on that. Yeah. And you had said something a little bit earlier, Halima, where it was like, and it was just an example of like, I make merch, you make merch, but we don't want to say, well, forget your merch. Nah. There's a guy in the city. His name is Justin, and he makes very, very top quality clothing. And it's called Cake. It's Cake Apparel. And honestly, I like wearing it because it makes me feel swaggy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm gonna wear his.
Saucy. It makes you feel saucy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm gonna wear his merch. I'm gonna wear my merch. I'm gonna support as many people as possible, whether it's just or whatever they do. As long as the passion, professionalism, and quality is there, I'm in full support. I fully believe it, but I fully believe in it. But if one of those things aren't there, I can't support it. To be completely honest with you, like if the professionalism is missing, that is a huge piece of the puzzle that really just kills your brand. If the quality is missing, that's obvious. And if the passion isn't there, then you just really shouldn't be doing it in the first place. So I really look for those three things, and I do the most to support the people that are doing it, because without support, then there's no point. No point at all.
You made a great point about professionalism.
Man,
that's super big. You can have the flyest product, you can sound the best, you can cook the best, but if you are not professional, it can really mess up your whole brand.
Yeah.
Just wrapping up. So you said you've been doing music for like 10 years. So now, what are some tips or advice you would give your younger self?
Okay, music wise or just totally
in general?
I will tell him that there's a very rocky road ahead, but you will get through it because you're meant to. Honestly, even if the music didn't exist, if none of the other stuff existed creatively that I do, that rocky road would still be there. So I would tell him, like, it's there. You got to deal with it. You're going to deal with it. And doing some music on the side is going to help, but don't let it distract you. It has distracted me from my road before. I actually quit music for probably a few months, but that was literally like I quit right before I rebranded. So like I needed that hiatus. It had to happen. And that's very important. If you feel like you need to take a break, don't feel like you taking a break is selling out or quitting. No, it's health. You got to think about your mental and your physical health, because you won't be able to fully go in and strongly dominate what you do if you're not strong, So I had to take that break for my health. So yeah, I would just tell him, like, just keep an open mind and stay strong. Or me.
That's some great advice. That's some great advice. That's phenomenal. Because I think a lot of times what happens is we're not, things happen to us, but sometimes we have to look at it as things happening for us. You know what I mean? Good. And even during the rocky times, it's like, okay, that happened on purpose for me to be able to do X, Y, and Z. I went through that scenario on purpose so that I would be strong enough to overcome when that next, hurdle came about or anything like that. So I think that's a great way to look at it. And then also not wanting to regret anything from your past as well, because I think a lot of times what happens is when people do think about, okay, what could I have told myself, 15 years ago or 10 years ago, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have done that. But that kind of makes you who you are today. So that's really insightful. Really, really insightful.
Yeah, like to piggyback off of that. there's a lot of things that I've done that may not have been as positive, but honestly, I'm glad I did it. I got it out my system. Like, you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, I'll be sitting here thinking about doing it. So at the end of the day, sometimes you gotta take those like really scary roads. You know what I'm saying? Just to know I ain't never going down that street again. Like, it's some stray dogs. I think there was a monster behind that tree. Like, I'm good. I'm all right. It's too dark over there. You know what I'm saying? So the whole journey is valuable. Like, literally every small bit, every part that made you cry, every part that made you laugh, it's all important because, like you said, that full experience shapes who you are. And honestly, I feel like it turned out all right. There you go.
That's cool. That's cool. All right, so we're gonna wrap up, but I want to close out with one of your songs, NRG, because Celine was a little jealous because I played Saucy. So NRG. And so before we get to that, how can they find you, man?
Oh, you can find me. You can find me anywhere. Really Khalil, ReaLly KHALIL. Literally, like, just put the @ and type that in. I'll come right up. On Twitter, it's a little different. Separate those two words by _. You can find me at reallyKhalil.com, a website that I made myself. Yeah, look me up.
So thank you so much for coming on, and we really appreciate you.
Hey, I appreciate y'all.
Let's give him some energy as we leave.
Hold on, I did the wrong song. My bad. Hold on, that's not you.
Yes.
Here it goes. Here it goes.
What you got? Oh, that's it right there. Tune in next week, guys. We have a special guest next week. Tune in at 6 p.m. You can find us on Facebook Live. Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody that shared, liked, commented, we really appreciate you all. With Khalil, we appreciate you coming on and spending time with us today.
Thank you.